Welcome, everyone. We are recording. Today is the 6th of June, 2024, Tuesday, 10:08 a.m. And we're doing our strategy session number 2 for Dead Man Mode Armageddon. I'm really happy to have you here, and I'm looking forward to any questions you may have. In fact, what I'd like to do to start is ask about the topic of inquiry of what you would like to know. Last session, we covered what the strategy was. Here, I'd like to provide more clarity moving forward on any other things that you might need as things become more
Well,
clear.
what we could do before the actual game mode start is go like a day before, just go over it with everyone in the chat and just run the route that you want to do.
Well, if you want to run 20 quests, you know, the day before, you could go ahead and do that.
But
I'm
not necessarily those quests, but
Yeah, I get your suggestion. The day before, I would probably meet with people and tell them what settings to change on their things and what plugins or something like that. Or the weeks coming up to that they would want to have, technologically speaking.
just have a trial run with some people where you're not necessarily doing the quest, but you have an idea about how long it would take for someone to get there if they're like 10 or 20 seconds behind. I know that you want to do everything really fluently and you want everyone to listen, but when there's a lot of people
Yeah, that's right.
coming on,
That
gonna have stragglers.
say that
There
again.
might be stragglers. There might be stragglers that didn't really listen to you and that are really far behind,
Yeah,
but it might just be like the one in front of them died, so they had to click and follow someone else, which caused them to lose like 30 seconds.
right.
Well, those 30 seconds,
So
just wait up for them.
so
Entire long.
I'm gonna clarify what Rhinox said every time he speaks. I'm just gonna re-summarize it. Okay. Rhinox is basically saying that there may be situations where people don't follow instructions. They didn't listen. They didn't pay attention ahead of time, and so it would make sense to have a meeting where we go over some of these things and clue people into what is necessary to have awareness of so that they can catch up, right? Because otherwise, if they accidentally follow somebody else or do the wrong thing, then they will fall behind. And the reality of this situation is that we're going to be in a Discord call with dozens of people on day 1. And I am one person who knows it all. I'm hoping that you all know it all by reviewing the content of the materials that I am sharing in these Discord calls and strategy sessions. But ultimately, you probably will not know it all because I will give you on the day of or the day before, practically, an actual set list of exact things that we will be doing. Like who you need to trade, when you talk to this person, when you sell this thing, what the next step is when you pick up swamp tar in Lumbered Swamp, right? So this swamp tar comes up in a quest 10 quests later. You know what I mean? 20 quests later. That kind of planning is what I have put into this. And so I've invested more time in the actual planning than Dead Man Mode Armageddon will exist. Last year I took 11 days. So far this year I've taken 5 days, and combined that's 16 days, right? That's a lot of time to make this work. And I've only finished day 1 in the general sense for this plan. I haven't even done day 2 and 3. It's a bit much. There's a lot of pressure on me, and I'm putting it on me. But then I have to also give that to you and say, look, day 1 has to be extremely, tremendously well coordinated, because if it's not, then people will be talking over each other. everyone will step into disarray, and nobody will know what the heck to do when they get behind. And it's not like you can just say, hey, I'm struggling with this, help me, what do I do? Because I'm trying to command everybody else who's doing step A, B, C, D, E, F, G, Z, Z, Z. And you have to remain in line with that, or it will become problematic. And so there will be this list of instructions to do. It may not include everything. Like you will need Runelite Quest Helper to help you with figuring out what items you might be missing, for example. And if you're on mobile, yeah, maybe you can ask around a little bit, but you know, you can't fall far behind. You have to follow these things like step by step. And so the goal is to streamline all of that, to make it really fluid, to make it really flow, because it's like if there were a path and there were a snake of a path that you would draw on a map, that snake connects from point A to B to C to D, you know? And it will help you with D all the way to A through Z with something in the future. And so you really don't want to miss anything, because that will cost you, inevitably. And we're trying to make everything as fluid as possible to have the best launch pad for taking flight in the most efficient way possible to start this thing. Because what I'm trying to do, the whole idea and the premise of it, is setting the right appropriate foundation. I'm not trying to tell you what to do after setting that foundation. I just want to set that up for you and your alt accounts so that you have the fundamentals necessary to be able to grow from there, to lift your head up. Because if you die on your main account, you will lose shit. If you die on any of these accounts, you will lose shit. But if you have a factory going and you're constantly producing more, you won't have to worry about the losses. Picking things up is going to be easy, but it's not going to be easy when you have level 20 stats, when you need to be a pretty much maxed pure account to be able to defend yourself, and you get killed in the middle of your quests, and you lose all the items that you got 10 quests ago for this quest, right? And so that's why we're staying together, because we need to get a lot done in the first several hours in preparation for being able to execute our strategy for the rest of the first day. So everybody needs to remain in alignment. Everybody needs to be attuned and in tune with what the strategy is, and open to listening and receiving feedback about how we can keep everybody on the same page. Because I won't be able to be talking over other people and helping people who are not in the loop if they are not on the same page. So falling behind is a poor option that I would not recommend. So we need to remain together. That may increase the pressure on you, but all you really have to do is read some instructions and listen to me and do what I say. Okay? So that's how that will look. A bit complicated, but actually really simple when it comes down to it. So
Yeah, I get that
how can I
point,
address
but
what you're saying, Clock?
Yeah, but that comes to my next point, actually, is you're banking on that everyone will be able to join you in that first minute that the game would be online. I'm pretty sure there will be people coming later. Perhaps it would be an idea to have like one or two dedicated people that might just start like an hour later and have like a second group going along with them, so that you're not pressured in trying to gather as many people in one spot, even though it might not work out with their whatever job they're doing, or they have the kids with them.
Yeah,
And that
most
would
definitely.
take the pressure away from you from having all those people as well, because you would have like one or two groups with someone you truly trust that will also be playing DMM till the end.
Right. I think that's a great idea. So I'm going to be taking some notes here on a document that includes the highlights of what we'll be doing. And I'll say, make a second group or set of individuals who expect not to be able to sign in upon launch of DMM Armageddon. Right? And this will be very helpful, but it will require immense levels of preparation, coordination, which means we need to get the Discord server more active and in tune with what's going on, make sure people are having conversations. Because if they're not having conversations, then they're not involved, and everybody's going to show up unprepared. And then I'll be pissed. Because I put in 6 weeks and 12 sessions, and, yeah, I'll be pissed at that point. So, we need to start having conversations, for sure.
Yeah,
So,
I agree. And you should have at least one or two others that you can really trust that are actually going to play the game and want to play the game just like you're playing it. I'm expecting from those 50 people, probably half won't be playing till the end. They're just gonna start the game, try to make as much money, and then quit. That's something you have to. Well, you can pretty much rely on that happening.
yeah, I'd say 10%. I generally, as far as attendance is concerned, with percentages wise, 10% often show up, and then maybe 10% of those people that signed up will be the people who actually commit. Maybe you have to go to 10% of that 10%. But that wouldn't make sense, because out of 50 people, that would just be me. So we'll see.
I mean, half of you.
Well, I know last year there was only like 5 of us that were really playing
Yeah,
on
but
DMM.
we didn't have any signups like this, bro. We just happened for me, it felt like we just happened to log in and there was a DMM update, and it's like, okay, I'll give this a try. I've never tried it before. And I logged in several hours later, and it was a blast. We had so much fun. And some people happen to be doing it. But there was no planning. There was no signups. There was no coordination. Hey, we have this event. It's just like, hey, this is something we're doing.
Yeah.
Here's who's doing it. And we had a lot of fun, actually. It was really fun. So
True that.
But then you get to things like the second week, and then people have different plans. They have to attend to their life. They want to move up the combat bracket, and then we all kind of got separated, and some people didn't find the joy in going to a higher combat bracket. They thought it dangerous and other things like that. And so, the level of investment only increases the higher you go. So if you're on the lower brackets, you have to invest less time and attention, and you can execute our strategy with everybody else, But the strategy is primarily focused on the income, and then secondarily, it'll probably be focused on the having fun, destroying people's income.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, I got some questions about your early game questing plan. Do you know how DMM works with item spawns and shop restocks? Because
it'll work the same.
If you try to get 50 people to buy a spade in Lumbridge, it will run out of stock eventually.
Yep. I would suggest while we're on this call that you look that up, but I believe it operates the complete same.
I mean, Leaks didn't, but the Leaks worked without trade, so I'm not entirely sure.
Oh, really? It was completely Iron Man? Interesting. Yeah, I believe it'll work completely the same, because DMM is tradable. Like, openly tradable. So that means we literally need to get into the game world, create our character, not even fuck with settings, teleport to our starting location, and then get whatever items we need. And then teleport to the next location, and then get whatever items we need. That's how fast it needs to be. So, yeah, you're right. I'm hoping other people don't have our plan, but I would remove that optimism and just say other people have our plan.
Not really saying this. If actually 10 people attend, we will run out of swamp paste. Like, this happens really fast, especially with items.
We're not getting swamp paste. Like that.
Just as
but I understand. I understand what you're saying. Totally. So not everybody will get everything, but there are other opportunities for them to get it. And the Grand Exchange is always open as well. You just may get expensive prices.
Second thing, you said you revised your plan for this year. When did you do it? Because with Project Rebalance, some huge early game changes just basically dropped. probably the most important are elemental weaknesses for early game spells and the removed level requirement from the Draenor agility course.
Ooh.
Might even be worth it to run like 5 laps at level 1 agility to get to level 12 for, I think you skip 2 brackets with it.
Two brackets, what do you mean?
There are restoration brackets that recovering run energy faster.
Ah, okay. Okay, got it. Yeah, 2 laps. Yeah, I mean, I don't see that being a really big problem. I can see that being as a part of the plan because actually in our starting period we're headed in that direction. So it's not a terrible idea. And we're going to be doing a lot of walking. So it's not a terrible idea. The only thing is some quests later we'll get a lot more agility levels, but if it's early game, we're going to be doing a lot of walking. We literally just finished our run energy. Yeah, that's not a bad idea. I'll consider that. Couple brackets for a couple laps. And run restoration. Okay. Now, I haven't actually looked at the project rebalance changes, and I have to look deeper into the first look of DMM and see exactly what the sigils and stuff do so I can try and optimize, oh, we need this for hitting this strategy and this for hitting that strategy. But as far as the plan is laid out, I mean, I've been doing that in the past 5 days, like full non-stop trying to work on that focus and then taking breaks, and I haven't been focused on anything else really. So that's the level of investment I put into it. And since it's so, yes, this is this and this, you know, it's really trying to be thorough with the order of things. And then I'll find things where the order doesn't work here, it could be better over here, and I've reorganized it quite a bit. So what was your question exactly? When did I do it? Yeah, it was...
No, I just wanted to know if you considered rebalance. Because
I haven't. I
especially
have
these
zero
parts.
consideration for that at this point.
Okay.
Is there anything that's really, really worth considering over this call that we can talk about and actually open our minds to with feedback for the recording?
I mean, I don't know your exact plan. Like,
Yeah, I know, but
most important
what are you
thing
saying is important? Because the elemental weaknesses, like, it's only a weakness, right? It's not. They have a higher resistance.
It's a 50% damage increase. You can hit 12s with water strikers against demons, I believe.
Okay, yeah, it's worth considering. It's not like but to be honest, it's not like we're stopping to kill demons or dragons or anything like that. We're doing quests.
No, I
for our
know, but
primary levels.
there's a boss in the Grand Tree quest, for example. So
Mm.
I don't know if it works on
Ah,
this
good
specifically. You might have to look that up.
Gotcha. Well, I will look into it. It's just it would be better if it was not just my mind working on this, because not everybody's gonna want to agree, and then them throwing in an idea, 10 strategy calls later, would be less acceptable because everything's already planned out. I spent 5 days this year doing this, going on 6. So yeah. The more solid I get, the less likely I'm going to be open to feedback, because the more rigid it's going to get. And yeah, this is, if I have to reorganize this, it will mess up the order of all of this. So we'll see how that goes. Was there more to that question though?
Not really, no.
All right. What was your next question?
That's pretty much it for now.
You said you had a few.
That were 2. More than 1.
Have you ever done DMM clock?
Nope.
Okay. So what would you like to discuss? What would be the most helpful? I mean, I could put order to these meetings. I could talk about practice with combat, but I've already done all these specific things and saying what you need to practice or review in the first call before we even did any of these strategy sessions, the general idea of what is necessary for DMM. Right? And so We can get more into specifics with some of those topics if you like, or we can just have an open conversation and exploration. The only thing is that I want to articulate is I don't want to go deeper into the strategy that we already have shared in the last call until in later iterations of different calls, because it will basically say the amount that you invest into getting to know this process will be spread out so that if somebody were to enter and manipulate something, they would have to like really try to manipulate things and to learn things, because there's going to be 12 calls to figure out exactly what we're doing. And so if somebody puts in a higher investment into getting prepared, then they will know. But if they don't, then they won't know, and the level of manipulation will be lower. And so as we go into more detail, it'll probably be in later sessions or, you know, different iterations and spread out, not all in one video. Okay.
Sure.
I got one question. Are you well, I heard in the first strategy meeting that you were going to do the cat quest to get a cat, right?
Yeah.
Is that a true part of the strategy? Because I'm not sure if the cats would actually help. It might be a wow factor, but you might achieve that with like a team cape or something as well.
Yeah,
If
so
everyone has...
we'll have a cape slot, we'll have an Alvis attractor, and we'll have a Mage Arenas cape before we step into the strategy.
All
So
right.
we're gonna swap out the first cape, obviously. But the reason
Mhm.
why that strategy is effective is because it gives you 35 cooking after the Cook's Assistant quest. The Cook's Assistant gives you 16 cooking. So if you stack those two, you can enter the Cook's Guild, which means you can get red berry pies, which means you can do the Knight's Sword quest, which gives you like 87,000 smithing experience, something ridiculous like that. And so
All right.
all these things are layered to unlock. Plus, if you wear a chef's hat and you have 35 cooking, you can escape if you have a skull in Varrock into the Cook's Guild, which means nobody can chase you into there unless they also have a chef's hat and 35 cooking. So it serves as an escape route, amongst other things. The cat serves as a threat to other people when they see 100 cats in a train, and they're like, "Don't fuck with that train, a kitty cat's man." And you know, it's really just like a flex that I haven't died yet in some capacity too, and that you have all
All
these
right.
people coordinated, and you will see that visually. And so we won't do that in the first hour. I changed the plans around, but it will be at some period within the starting hours that we do get that. Yeah.
Okay.
So it's pretty funny, but yeah, we are doing that.
Yeah, I was just having questions with the fact that well, basically you said you wanted to do the cats to have the wow factor and be some sort of a deterrent in a big group. I didn't think about the XP that you would get from the quest itself.
Yeah, it's cooking experience. But the
Right.
biggest problem is, listen, my friend, I wanted to change the whole strategy around just for this frickin' thing, and I couldn't figure it out. To do the quest, you need a sardine, a raw sardine. And the only place you can get it is in Port Sarum. That is within our relative space of what we can buy. If you want to stop, you would have to get feathers and a rod to be able to fish. And you have to go all the way out of your way to get that shit. So it doesn't make
I
sense
think we
to
will
do
go
it out
to
of
Port
order.
Serum for X marks the spot anyway.
Yes,
Like,
but we will get to that quest way later after doing other quests, you see. And so there's an order to things that have to be managed. And so if for example, at an earlier iteration of the strategy, you wanted to prioritize getting to the Grand Exchange and putting in orders for things really cheap because nobody has money as soon as possible, you wouldn't be able to do that quest, which is involved in that area for Gertrude's cat, and it might mess up the potential for doing other things because you can't just keep teleporting everywhere. You don't have magic levels. You don't have options. So walking is the primary option to get started. So you have to link everything together. So if we did the Stronghold of Security, we wouldn't be able to do Gertrude's cat because there's no way that we would have the raw sardine. So things in the right order is definitely necessary, and other things can be accommodated
I mean,
in other ways. But the GE
you
we
have a
probably
home
won't have
teleport
access
with
to
a...
earlier. We're going to use that immediately. So
I'm
You would
just
have to
saying,
wait 30
when
minutes.
you walk over to Draenor in the beginning, like you said, it was on the way anyway. Getting a fish is not too far off.
Yeah. Yeah. I get it. But you can also buy sardines at that shop. Why go and get the fishing levels?
Yeah, that's exactly what I mean. Like fishing sardines is 5 fishing. That takes way too long.
But you also have to consider the locations where they are, too. You know, I know there's one in Alcarid where you can actually fish them, but it has to be a
There's one in
a
Draenor,
net for shrimps. Yeah, yeah. You see what I mean?
and
But
you have both of them there. You
Where-
just need a fishing rod and
right,
feathers, or you buy them in Portserum. Like,
right, right, right.
what them for?
Yeah. The whole complication though is the fluidity of one step to the next. And so if
Yeah,
you can
I
just
get
buy
that.
it from the shop, then that's so much easier. So yeah. What's next on your mind?
Do we know what quests will be completed upon the start of?
Yeah. So are you
Rebalance?
watching my screen?
Yeah.
I'm gonna
Well-
give you an overview, but it's gonna be out of order for this video. It will be changed later. Okay? So you will see my screen. You will see the order of the milestones you need to complete. But you won't have the exact steps in between. And you will need the actual official document because things will be reordered. This is not it. This is the first iteration of before I finished everything else. So like whoever's watching this, if you think you can penetrate the strategy in some way, it's not going to be the right order at all. Okay?
Well, it's gonna be either me or Top in that case.
No, I mean anybody that watches this recording. So we can go into further detail, but you know, this is as far as we go for our first meetings. As far as that looks, I think. Okay, so I'm going to share my screen. So here's what we're going to do. So let me just explain the premise of the importance of my strategy. It's to build your accounts for your alts so that you set the right foundation, and then you can have the freedom to do what you want. You know? And it's not my goal to tell you to do what you want after that point. It's my goal to set the right proper foundation so you have the grounds laid out for you to then take flight and do what you want. And you can do that with clan members. You can do that alone. You can do it however you want. But as far as the coordination for the alt accounts, we need to be united over that front for sure. Otherwise, the strategy will not be as effective because the point is to reduce the risk and be a threat and to do the same thing and be companions unto each other. Okay? So, now we can go into it. So, and this is a good topic. I suppose we need to talk about it. But, you know, remember, it's not going to be in the right order. So, I don't even include where we're actually starting here. I don't even include it. So, you're missing a lot of milestones. But if you look at this list, I believe there were 19 on this original list of quests that we will complete. Yeah, 19 quests, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so all of these actually indicate levels that you will get along the way. So you will know what kind of levels stack. For example, when you get 42 attack here, you're also going to get 47 attack here.
All right.
Well, it's supposed to show up. But, let's see. Death Plateau. I see, it's not even finished. The thing's not even finished. And so, this whole list is what you will receive at the end of this call, basically, to go over. As for, if you wanted to strategize what you needed to build on top of your account, you would have this, and you would be like, I don't need to do this quest because it's already going to be done, type of deal. And this is only day one of the milestones. But, you know, it would be really helpful for you to know. And so, what we're basically going to do, the basic illustration of the pathing that we will have, is we're going to start out, buy a ton of items. I won't tell you where those items are. And then we're going to home teleport. And then, from there, we're just going to take the path going west to Draenor Village, complete multiple quests, such as X marks the spot, Cook's Assistant, Witch's Potion, all the way to Remington. And then we're going to trail back and actually teleport take a boat to Kurend. And we're going to do a ton of quests inside of Kurend. Okay? And this will give us an actual teleport book, which enables us to have a safety mechanism. Not only can we teleport to one place with that book, but if somebody follows us and has the same, and it happens to be unsafe, we can immediately teleport to a second place. Okay? And so that is very important, not just to have one escape, but two. And what this will do is it will unlock the mine carts in Kurend from the first quest of this after, actually, we're going to do three Kurend quests. And you can navigate all over Kurend as you want, and that's actually really helpful for picking up the speed of things, right? And so after that, we will stop by the Stronghold of Security, and the premise of this becomes, do we need it or do we not? The problem is we'll have like a low hit points level, and we'll be out of protection time at that point. So there will likely be PKers camping the area, and we'll have to take the risk if we want to get the 10k. Otherwise, these other quests, they give us something like 5,000 coins and 8,000 coins. It's a risk if we want to get the extra 10k, but it's a choice. Then we'll grab a cat after using the GE. We will then head through and get attack levels from Vampire Slayer. We'll get mining levels so that we can then proceed into further quests using that mining. Tourist Trap will give us agility and allow us to be able to access the agility pyramid. And Doric's Quest will enable us to get more mining levels, more smithing levels from Knight's Sword. Witch's House will hit up because we'll be in the area. So all these are interconnected, you can see. You can't see the steps in between, but we will immediately get some help in being able to get some hit points in. And that will be a little bit late for the hit points. All right, Rhinock, we'll see you later. But we're going to get hit points somewhere halfway in between. The reason for this is because the Witch's House is going to be immensely densely packed in the beginning. And when you try and enter the Witch's House, you literally cannot get inside the door because one person at a time can be inside there fighting the bosses. And everybody who's an idiot who doesn't know this, who hasn't done the research, is going to be standing outside of that door trying to get in. And the only time you can get in is when somebody else walks out. And if you happen to click the door at the right fucking time and you multi-click it and you get in, you will click it again and you will step out and somebody else will go in. It's that fucked. Okay?
Wait, could it be worth it to take like a second account, rush to Witch's house, enter the room? I think it has a safe spot, right?
That's hilarious strategy, bro.
And just stand there for 6 hours?
Yeah, it could be worth it. It could be worth it, asshole. Yeah! Why don't you do that, Rhinock? Why don't you fucking do that? Block out a whole world for us, homie. I'm down.
I mean, problem is if I come up with this strategy, other people would probably too. Like,
no, nobody else is gonna do that. They're gonna be like, "Fuck this guy" and go to another world. And nobody else is gonna be blocking that, bro. You got to do that though. That's hilarious, man. Fuck you. And so you can make that account your flipping account. You'll just use it for flipping later and trading your other accounts if you want. Does that make sense?
Yeah, sure.
Dude, are you gonna do that, bro? We're gonna need like 20 people to enter that room, if not more. That's hilarious.
Maybe. If it actually works, if Jagex didn't think of this and patched it beforehand.
Of course they didn't think of it. Last year, that's what it looked like. And I watched somebody screaming on stream, or not on stream, of a recording of them being on stream, like, fuck! They fucked up multiple times. It was so funny. They were there for the whole first hour. They couldn't even get in, bro. So, yeah, we can do that. The only problem is, when we have all those people hit the Witch's house, I didn't exactly consider the spacing of what that would look like. What I mean by that is the ordering of quests from that point means that we would have to have people split off at some point if you're going to reserve the room like that and come at their own time and try and catch up, you know, because you can't killing the bosses will at least take a few minutes depending on your levels. And so you can't have everybody standing in front of the door waiting. It would be a really big flaw in the plan, to be honest. But we do need everybody to have hit points levels, right? So that means people need to split off and catch up individually, which isn't a terrible idea. It's just it means that my plan for approaching the witch's house will not work. And if you hop worlds, the solution is still less likely to work. But, you know, that's only if it's still packed. That's only if it's still packed, you know, 2 to 3 hours in, which is about the point that we'll be hitting it. So yeah, all things considered, it's not a bad idea. It's a really good idea if you wanted to do that. And we could take advantage of that. However, we do need to plan it differently. We need to have it in the back of our minds that we're going to have to split off on our own, which is scary, which means people need to go in pairs or threes to be able to get that done because you don't want to go off on your own. Not that it really helps that much, but you look a little scarier when you're together, right?
Yeah.
So that will help. I'm going to try and prioritize for all this not to have people go off on their own early on. Because if one of you gets wiped out, it's like you're fucked for a very long time to catch up. Yeah. Okay. That is an interesting thing, though. You have to wait 20 ticks to be able to, if somebody is, as far as I understand, it's 20 ticks on the offensive side and 20 ticks on the defensive side. If you wanted the PJ, meaning somebody's just running away, not attacking, fighting back, you would have to wait 20 ticks, the exact same as trying to steal a kill. So you could literally, if they're attacking you, you could off them and have them come onto you with your other partner and wear down their food halfway and then kill them with the second guy. So it's like in Deadman mode, since you have all the crazy freaking sigils, bro, it will be very helpful to have an extra person if that strategy works, because I'm not exactly sure about kill stealing, but generally in Deadman mode you have to be able to escape on your own or you're fucked. And if you're in multi, then it's a whole different dimension. You're really, 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 really fucked. So if you can steal kills like that, which the 20 tick PJ timer would indicate, saying defense, offense, you know, then we can swap off if you're not attacking them back, I think. And that will give us
Is
an upper hand.
splitting considered as attacking?
So on the actual first look post from them, I will show you. We have this here. PJ. So, timer. I'm just going to type 20. Tick. Here we go. The PJ timer for defending players. You are seeing my screen, right?
Still see your document.
You see me talking? Oh, document. Okay.
No, I see your document.
Change windows. Do you see it now?
Yep. See it.
So here, PJ timer for defending players increased from 8 ticks to 20 ticks. For attacking players, the PJ timer has been reduced from 24 to 20. So that means people in 8 ticks, and a tick is 0.6 seconds, would be able to take and attack you if you were in combat and you weren't fighting back. Because you're not actively having each other's health bars come up, right? But if your health bar drops and somebody's attacking you, then you can basically PJ them, which means you can get on the offending player if you're on defensive mode. So both of these are set to match. Defending players and then offending players, 20 ticks, right? each. So that means you will have to be tick perfect if you actually want to steal a kill or do something crazy before they teleport. Because you'll be able to teleport after 20 ticks, I'm imagining. So in this case, if somebody is offending you, the attacking player, and you are defending, you will be able, if there's a third party, to attack the attacking player after 20 ticks. Does that make sense? So if you're running away
Okay.
and you're all in a follow train and you're getting attacked, you have to tell your friend to keep clicking them and running with you, because you'll obviously stop in your tracks if you try and attack them. And wait until 20 ticks passes until your friend attacks them and then no longer becomes a priority for you to escape from. Which means if you've actually gotten into combat with this person, you've worn down their supplies a significant amount because you have sigils. It's not like normal combat where one person could actually wipe out two. The both of you are going to eliminate your food supply like almost immediately. So if you actually did this PJ timer thing, you would have to time it right, and you would have your other friend literally end up killing them. So I think if you can steal kills, as it would indicate, and this would be the best strategy, then you would have to not fight back for 20 ticks and have somebody else attack them and have them not have a problem with it. I'm not entirely sure that works, but I think that's how that works. Would you agree?
Probably, yeah. But does splashing count as resets the PJ timer? Or do you
I don't
actually
know.
have to do damage?
I don't know if that or
Because otherwise
teleblocks
you
work.
could just have
I
two
don't know.
accounts splashing each other and be basically invincible, right?
Yeah, but that's some pussy fucking way to play the game, bro. I wouldn't do that.
I know. Just
I know, you're figuring out all these crazy strategies, bro. Like things that I absolutely would not think of. I remember how you played last year. All right, so
I did play last year.
what's that?
Like Rhinoc is gone. I didn't play last year.
What do you mean, bro? You were playing Deadman mode last year, weren't you? Was it somebody else?
It wasn't me. Like I'm Clock. Rhinoc is gone.
Oh, I see. Yeah, you guys got similar voices. But you're coming up with strategies that Rhinoc would like, bro. Only because like he was trying to swap out and get 900k OSRS at the end because he kept fucking dying, bro. 900k! That was all of his efforts and fruitions from all of Deadman mode. It was sad. So, you know, yeah, we won't be playing it that way this time. But that is a cool strategy. It's just not feasible. You would need to bring like 5 pieces of armor equipment, waste that on food potentially, and everybody would need to have it, and it's super heavy. You
No,
know?
not early on as a guild thing, but if you have 2 accounts mining somewhere, that's just they are
I see.
invincible skilling.
I see what you're saying. I don't know how it works. You would have to test that. So let's write that down. But I don't exactly plan on that happening at all. But we can write it down.
Don't think it will work anyway. But
I don't think it will either, because I think you need the health bar to come up. I think teleblocking might be the same, but snaring isn't, because you actually do damage, right?
you hit for 1 or 2, yeah.
Only those numbers? I thought it could be a little bit bigger. Okay.
Not entirely sure. Doesn't hit for much though.
Okay, so that's that. I would recommend you view this first look. It's posted all over our Discord, and well, at the beginning of our announcements for Discord. Okay, so I'm gonna go back to the prior screen and continue our chat. Okay, thank you for the idea. I have to search Q13 because that's where we were. Witch's house. We're really gonna have to change up the strategy for this one. Then we're going to get a bunch of woodcutting levels from a very quick quest. And yeah, all of this order is different, man, for a lot of things. But we're going to get ranged and magic levels and strength levels toward the end. You see, 220,000. So 58 strength, 54 magic, 50 ranged, which means we're not going to be offensively capable toward the end of our strategy, which is a bit dangerous, quite dangerous. But we wouldn't be prepared for all these quests otherwise. And sequentially doing them could be helpful, but not entirely, because we also need certain items, and the pathing has to work with limited teleports without going out of your way and wasting time. So I had to order it in this way. Not this way specifically, but, you get what I'm saying. And so we will basically max out right before doing the final portion of our plan, in which case, before we even get to the agility pyramid, we're actually going to get a house. So we can use the teleport to house spell to be able to get right to Polnivnich by moving our house there for 200 coins. And then we can continue banking our shit and selling it or doing whatever we need to do and getting back to the pyramid almost immediately by using a simple teleport to house spell.
Is a construction requirement on that though, right?
20.
Yeah, okay.
So it'll be relatively easy because we just have to do one mini quest, which is Daddy's home.
Yep.
We'll have to buy the supplies for planks and stuff, but yeah, it should be relatively easy. And that will be the last string of making this whole plan work, which is, of course, we're going to the agility pyramid, right? For the first day. And so in the background, I'll be making a mithril crossbow and emerald bolts. And this is really helpful because it does 75 damage over 7.5 minutes. And you have a 54% chance of poisoning somebody with one of these bolts, which is insane. Like, that's insane. And so if you have poison damage on the pyramid in the beginning, you have a rune longsword or an adamant sword, and you have Dorgishan crossbows and your ranging sigil. And these stats to tribrid with, yeah, people are going to have trouble with you because you're also going to be snaring them as well. You're fucking dangerous. So this will be fun because we're literally going to wipe out everybody on the pyramid, hop worlds, and wipe them out again, and dominate the pyramid, and training agility at the same time. And
Do you get combat experience in PvP?
No, you don't.
Okay.
And so once you've done the agility pyramid, you basically need to get your prayer levels up if you want prayer on your account. Because if you want to do breaches on your low-level accounts, you will need prayer. Otherwise, you'll just get wiped out instantly. So I'd recommend that if you intend to use the account for breaches. But if you want your account to remain remote and doing something where it's not spotted by anybody and just keeps making income passively and it doesn't participate in any of that, then I would do no prayer. Save yourself the trouble, right? And so, depending on how many alt accounts you make, this is the essence and the core of getting started in a general sense for that strategy and the milestones to get there. There are things, once again, that are not on this list that will make things better. And this is somewhat the order, but, blocks of things have probably been moved around. So you generally know this is what's done on the first day. Of course, we're going to have day 2 and potentially day 3 as for what this will look like and continuing to stack quest, even on the alt accounts. And so that will basically buff us up and be at the top of our bracket. And it will also give us everything we need for our specialization and what pathway we want to do to make money, right? And so, my friend, I'm going to stop sharing the screen here, but you will get this document later. Okay? And
Yep.
And what will happen is, with that account that you're making to hold the ground, you can use it as a flipper, but I was actually potentially thinking of something similar to doing what you're doing, only not quite. So maybe I could help with that. but I think it's better to just have one account to do it. But here's the thing. There is a sigil that they are coming out with. And it's cool. Did you do leagues last time?
Yeah,
Okay, did you get the Trickster Relic?
of course I did.
You did?
Yeah.
Okay. So look at this. There's a Sigil of Deception, where you automatically re-pickpocket NPCs until you're otherwise unable to do so. Cool?
Okay, but you still have a chance to fail pickpockets.
Yeah.
This is a huge detriment, yeah.
So, this, do you think that that will be included in once you have the levels to no longer fail?
No, of course not, but most NPCs is kind of high.
To stop failing.
Yeah.
So what they're just saying is that the normal factors apply, but in Trickster you never failed? Is that what happened?
In Trickster you never failed. You
Okay.
basically could start pickpocketing heroes from level like 65 or something.
So here's the thing. If you wanted to use that alt account that you used to stay in the witch's house, you could join me in a potential strategy that I'm cooking up, which is literally to have that account do nothing but bank standing, flipping, and thieving, potentially herblore, and potentially magic for processing things. So it would literally be a bank standing moneymaker. And you would unlock the quest necessary to do Plague City to get an Ardone teleport and remain within the safe zones, if you wanted to play that way. And while you sleep, if you practiced and got the rogue's outfit, if you practiced pickpocketing enough, your thieving levels will go up super fast, and then you would no longer fail, and you could make money while you sleep. And
Well, most NPCs give you coin porters, which stack up to 28 initially.
I believe they're taking coin pouches out. I'm not certain, but I think I heard that somewhere. I think they may have said it in a video. In a video for this change.
This would be insane.
Yeah, so it's worth considering. But yeah, I think they're removing it for dead memo and something like that. But it's not a good moneymaker compared to our normal strategies. It's just that if you got the levels up, you would be able to do it overnight. So I'm not certain,
Yep.
once again. But the fact that they're actually including this relic or this sigil, and you can play around with things, I think it's worth considering at least doing that. Similarly, the next one is for agility. You can run around a circle all night, get double the experience. Right? And so,
Return of the drain of the Lumbridge agility course, I see.
what did you say?
Is it the return of the Lumbridge agility course?
I don't-
It doesn't do it in the safe zone. Okay.
I don't have no idea what you're talking about. That's not what I'm reading.
Oh, in leagues, people were following each other to run around a circle around a fountain in Lumbridge all day for the relic.
Yeah. That's a better place. Because it'll be dangerous outside of the GE polls. So the fountains are a better place. Good thought. I didn't think of where to do it, but that would definitely be
It
dangerous.
does not grant XP while you are in a safe zone. Literally the last sentence.
Oh. Well, then we'll it won't even fucking matter.
Yep.
You know why? Because we're probably... That's a really... No, I didn't read that sentence at all. But we're going to get so many agility levels on all of our alt accounts on the pyramid that we won't fucking need to level agility anymore. So, like... You know, it's kind of cool, but we're probably not going to use it. And there's no reason to use it for your flipping account anyways. So, my whole point is this. If you were to create that side account and have them stay in the witch's house, while we're doing other things that we're literally having all of our other accounts do, you could do this one on the side, and within just a few hours, you know, or like half of the day, the first day, for example, you would have your rogue's outfit, and you would be ready to run this strategy because you've done the quest necessary to be able to do Rogue's Den. You know, you need your 50 thieving levels and your 50 agility levels to do rogue stand. You will have done tourist trap, and you will have trained by getting cakes at a cake stall, for example, to level 50, and then you do rogue's den and all those things in Ardougne after Plague City, and then you would basically be set for the rest of the tournament once you start training on Ardougne nights, and you no longer fail, which would be relatively fast, right? And so you can just leave that account going when it's not at the GE and teleport to Ardougne and have no problems. You could also...
I'm not entirely sure that works, wait.
I'm not entirely sure, but I'm telling you, there's an option for that account that doesn't make it just a flipper. It can do other things. It can do herblore. It can do fishing. It can do thieving. And I think those are the primary 3 things that you would want it to do. You could do crafting and magic if you want it to, but it's not the most important, and it will raise your combat levels. But, you know, it would basically be a bank standing processing account. You're mining ore, for example. You want a superheat item. If you really want to, you know, you would have to click and get the inventory space full in order to do that. You could superheat all of your ore. Right? And so...
Yes.
And so it would be good for not doing all the bullshit that you don't want to do while you're still gathering, if you're skilling, for example. You would keep the accounts that are gathering, and you wouldn't stop them for processing. And you would make more money. You would probably be doing the things that other people don't want to do. So, yeah, that'd be really helpful. And just so you know, herblore is going to be incredibly helpful in making money here, in this one, because they have something called overloads inside of this Deadman mode. It gives all of these bonuses, and what is needed to be able to make it is just these potions and the item that is called a chitin. So you just combine a chitin with a ranging, magic, or super combat potion, and you can make overloads, and those would be really expensive, right? So I would imagine that they would make chitin tradable. If they made it untradeable, it'd be really stupid. And so you can make overloads, and these will be worth a fuck ton because they will be the best in slot potion. And you can't just use it at the bank and then leave, because for every 15 seconds your boosted stats have decayed, they'll reset back up to the boosted level. But then there's something about the bank that makes it not a good or viable idea. I'm not quite sure what. You can't use it in safe zones. That's the problem. I think that's what it is. So making money with herblore is going to be big. That's my point.
Yep.
I can't find the safe zone thing, but there's a valid reason why you can't really use it in the bank. Maybe it's...
I mean, it gives you damage over time. You'll take 25 damage over 6 seconds at the rate of 5 damage per 1.2
yeah,
seconds
and
for the next
that's a
5 minutes.
dangerous thing to do mid-fight, right? But it's not 50. But there's a viable reason why you can't pre-pot. Oh, you can't pre-pot super defense potions because it lowers your defense, because it'll just reset to 15 seconds. Maybe there's a viable reason why you can't use it at the bank. I don't know, but I think that was the idea, is that you can't pre-pot super defense. It won't matter. Maybe it's the... I don't see anything about not being able to use it in safe zones, but you know, that might be it. But this is a huge money maker. So, for example, if you had a farming account, you could make a lot of money gathering that and then making these potions on your flipper. The primary income being flipping. And then you wouldn't have to worry about the GE slots on all your other accounts if you wanted to play the game in a super safe way. If you wanted to, for example. So that's a thought. So, amongst the things that you can do skilling in a safe zone, thieving is one of them. It might be worth your while to do that route. It all depends on the updates in the news and how things work, though, right?
I looked RD Knights up, 95 Thieving and the Adorn Diary, and you cannot fail anymore. So, might be quite a late game thing to do.
Which
but,
part of the Ardorn Diary?
Wait, does it say it anywhere?
need that?
Medium.
You need it?
Otherwise, you will have a fail time. You only get to 99% or something.
It won't matter. It won't matter. If you get to 99%, it won't matter. Because you'll have a rapid restoration sigil. You'll heal 10 times.
Yeah, but 99 is with Glass of Silence. Wait, the normal just gets you to like
What about with rogues?
94%
What about with rogues?
success rate. Rogues doesn't give a thieving boost, right? It just doubles the loot.
Correct. So removing that, it's 94? 95?
Yeah,
What's the number?
94.
Yeah, so it probably won't matter. Because you'll have a sigil that restores your hit points times 10. So let me see. I'll look up hit points here. The Sigil of Resilience, hit points restore rate increase from 10x to 15x from last Deadman mode. Do you understand? Your hit points regenerates at a 15 times rate.
1 hit point every like 4 seconds or something.
Yeah, so it won't matter.
That's huge.
Yeah, it won't matter. And if you added a Region Bracelet and Restoration Prayer, it absolutely will not fucking matter.
Restoration Prayer will turn off if you do it overnight.
Yeah, of course. But yeah. So that'll do ya. That's one thought. So that's the basic idea of day 1. You know, I still have to finish it. It's pretty much done, though. And it looks good, I think. Do you have any questions or any feedback you wanted to give?
Not yet.
Nothing, huh?
I mean, I have to look into it more. But off the top of my head, I don't have anything.
All right. So the goal at the end is to be as beefy as you can be when you hit the pyramid through quests, not having to do anything extra. And fully able to do that. To significantly lower the failure rate as well. And have fun. We're going to have a lot of fun the first day if we stay around for the Agility Pyramid. I mean, so long as we have the numbers to be able to dominate that pyramid, we will have a lot of fun. If you don't, you'll still have a lot of fun, but you'll be getting attacked versus doing the attacking, I think. Yeah. So the interesting thing about the pyramid is that it's totally safe. It's not safe, but you can escape. You can just...
You said you can just go reverse
backwards
on the obstacles to fall down.
Yeah, and then at that point you either run forward or run backwards and make a gap. And in addition to that, I'm not sure if this is valid, but I saw from a video from Frame just run back and go get them. Since we'll have the Paul Nimnich house teleport, it'll probably be more likely that we can get our pyramids back, right? And I don't know if untradeable items stay for an hour or if they stay for 2 minutes. It probably depends on the item. But if you just die with the pyramid tops instead of cashing them in, and then you only cash them in when you decide to leave and go to the GE or whatever, then that could be a strat. We'll have to test it, obviously, by PKing one of our own members. Ha ha ha. Giving them the 10 stacks of items back. But if you don't cash it in, that's cool. But the problem is they weigh a lot. So you can't just keep racking them up while doing the agility pyramid. You will have to take breaks and leave while you still have food in your inventory. And a bunch of pyramids. Okay? So that's worth thinking. And then also there's that safe spot in Paul Nimnich if they haven't done the tourist trap. And I'm not sure what the deal is, but there's probably a level to get into the Paul Nimnich course, which you can probably go up that level if they don't have the agility level to do that if they did have Tourist Trap, and that would be another safety net on your way to the agility pyramid. So there's a lot of ways to escape, and we'll practically have all of them. You need 70 agility for the Paul Nietzsche rooftop course, which throughout the duration of day 1, if you were to stay for the whole day, we will definitely have.
Yeah.
And so the point of day 1 is to get a bunch of your money back and probably pay off your debt with a strategy and get more. And then move on to day 2 if you want to keep making money, cool, but just know that the rates will continue to drop. So you want to do all this in the beginning. And those agility levels will come in handy because next up, day 2, we'll have 89 agility. And we can decide whether or not we want to hit the Revenant Caves for the highest agility tier escape route between Pyre Fiends and Revenant Orcs. Nobody will be able to follow us, and so we can kind of dominate that area as well. On level 50 combat accounts, you know? Or less than, but yeah. That'll be interesting. We'll be the first people to have 89. And then we will start diversifying into specialized strategies once that starts to get a bit more populated in that area. But I think Revs will be a pretty good starter. You'll buy an Amulet of Avarice before you enter and get noted drops and have some fun. Yeah. Cool. Anything you'd like to share? I need to pee before I return. So I'm going to pause the recording. We are recording again. Yeah, so as I was just saying, when you start out in the game, you have a starter staff, a starter bow, and a starter sword, which is like the best in slot upon entering the game. However, the complication of this is that you can only use it on monsters. So you'll have 500 magic spells and something like 1,000 or 2,000 arrows. And that's good for training, but it's only good for that. It doesn't cost you anything to use. Once you die, you will have the opportunity to get a new one. But other than that, you will have no other use for this because you can't use it in PvP, for example. So you'll probably want to get something better. But to start, it's handy. And every time you die, it will be handy. But, you know, my plan is basically encompassing the use of other weapons, which you will get along the way. So it hasn't thought about utilizing those. And so you will be able to fight back, is the main point I wanted to make. So that is in essence what our start looks like. If it provides you more clarity, gives you some milestones to look forward to. And, you know, if you want to branch off and go do quests ahead of time on day 1 instead of making money, you can. However, it will be hard because you'll be managing so many accounts at a time that you can't move 2 more accounts away from the pyramid. No more than 2, I would imagine, to follow each other and do something without jeopardizing everything. So you could have like 3 on the pyramid, 2 questing, for example, if you want to do that. But I would recommend not doing too much of that because the following day we're going to have a whole new set of quests, which you might end up accidentally doing, for example, if you don't have that information ahead of time. And interfering with the plans, or you could just do more of the agility pyramid, less of us if you wanted to, right? But yeah. Cool?
Yeah, cool.
Right on.
Just kind of thinking of possibilities here.
There are a lot of possibilities. A lot of possibilities. There's an additional one with the thieving thing that I hadn't thought of. It's not the best, but it's cool. I'll try and find that video again and see where I may have heard that they'll be removing coin pouches.
Yeah, that would be kind of insane.
Yeah. But the main thing that I'm going to focus on now that I'm finishing up day 1 is looking at the updates and trying to assess what would be best there. It's still crazy that I'm investing this much time, man. Like it's very hard to believe. Like I've spent more than all of Deadman mode planning in the actual Deadman mode event will be. That's fucking who does that kind of deal. I'm starting to question. Yeah, I should be living my life more like
I
seriously.
mean,
Like
theory crafting is fun. That's
for you, rune crafting is fun. It would have been more fun last year. They did 10x the
theory
rates.
crafting is fun. Rune
Oh, I see.
crafting is shit. Don't want to run to the altar again.
Yeah, I was looking at my accounts and I'm like, I'm diversifying my skills across all these different things. And the only ones I won't be doing are hunter and rune crafting, basically. So if that gives you an idea as for what our plans are, cool. But like, I'm gonna have my main account doing some skilling a little bit. I'm gonna be having all these other accounts doing different strategies, and I'm not gonna be doing hunter or rune crafting. I'm like, should I do it on my main just to get the levels so that when it transfers over to the final world, I'll have it? And I was like, I'm already gonna be doing all this other stuff. Fuck no. Why would I want to? I want to PK. I want to play the game. Why would I even bother? And so, yeah, no, it's not happening. Even if I could technically have a maxed main on all the other accounts if I wanted to, combined, and have them split out on different accounts, nah, why the fuck would I want to do that when I could be having fun? No, no way. So
I mean, theoretically, Guardians of the Rift isn't too bad. I just don't know if PvP is enabled in there.
I'm not sure.
Be weird.
I'm not sure. You could try and watch videos on it, but the weird thing is that I don't know if it's because there's so much content on DMM Apocalypse from last year or what, but the algorithm on YouTube makes it so hard to find the exact videos that you want. It's really weird, actually. So maybe it's just because they didn't put it into the description or their search engine for what they were doing. But like I literally have trouble finding videos that I watched last year on it. And it's unless if you're following a specific creator and looking at their playlist from the year and you know who it was, it's very hard to find exactly what you're typing into that bar. So, there's that.
Especially because nobody will watch a video about DMM rune crafting or something like that.
Not true. In the starting
Not
in the
not
starting
true, but the
in the
audience
in the
is
starting hours,
on.
that was one of the best strategies. Like no joke. There were people nature rune crafting and people killing them in the altar where they would teleport in. And they were getting a lot of money to start. Like you could still do that this year, but I don't want to prioritize PKing that, or I would just want to do our strategy, you know. Yeah, there are other opportunities though if you wanted to go PK somewhere else, and keep 4 accounts on the pyramid, but it becomes hard to manage if they're not all in one area, and you're focusing on this versus focusing on this. If you lock it down, then you'll be secure, and then you won't have to worry about getting into combat based on somebody else attacking you. You'll be doing the offending. And if somebody else does attack you, then you can fight back. And it's likely not going to be on all of your accounts because we'll have so many people there. So the importance is very much in the numbers. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think the only somewhat viable strategy I came up with until now is to monopolize dark masks in the Mostly Harmless Slayer cave. Because it has a single entrance, you can basically put like 3 accounts there and camp the entrance. The rest can kill the dark beasts.
Dark beasts?
No, it's not dark beasts. What are they called?
You mean a
Cave
black
horrors.
mask?
Yeah, for the Slayer hand.
You called it dark mask.
Yeah. Didn't do any Slayer.
The thing is, though, are people gonna get They can. They can do that. But they would have to turn their experience off. Because the more combat experience they gain, the more they'll level and they'll move out of the combat bracket.
Yep.
Which means,
But it is possible. There's an NPC to do that, right?
yeah, it's possible. It just means that there will be significantly less people trying to prioritize that training on the lowest bracket. You see what I'm saying? And
Yeah.
and the people who will actually be prioritizing that strategy are not going to be maxed mains. It would be kind of silly for them to spend their time doing that of all things. So you're saying you would get the masks and farm the masks, or PK the people getting the masks?
No, you get the mask and farm the masks to sell them, because you said it is way more of a PVM focused event,
It is.
like for the highest levels of players. So they probably want a Slayer helm.
Yeah, they definitely do. They do go. I was flipping them last year, actually. So strategy, what you're saying. I'm not saying it's the best, but it is a valid strategy. The thing is, you would probably want to do Haunted Mind Quest, and then you would want to do Tarn's Lair, and get about 42 Slayer from completing Tarn's Slayer. And that's how you would do it. So in other words, you wouldn't have to do anything but Tarn's Lair in order to get the level requirement.
I mean, you need the combat stats to complete Haunted Mind. But
Yeah. And Tarn's Lair is kind of difficult, to be honest. At a low level, I would imagine. But the rewards from it... Let me just see. I'm looking at the screen now. So... Actually, there's a requirement for level 40 Slayer to do Tarn's Lair. So I'm wondering where you actually get the 42 Slayer from. I'm now going to look at the Slayer guide and see quest rewarding Slayer experience. I see. So what I just told you is invalid. But you would probably want to do a few quests, such as a Porcine of Interest.
yep.
I don't think you could do General Shadow because you would need Desert Treasure. And you would want to do Wanted. And if I look at, 1,000 experience and plus 5,000, and there's no requirements for that, and Animal Magnetism is already going to be cleared, so you can't do that, you probably would not want to do the Recipe for Disaster subquest. But you could potentially use a lamp for this, which would be 10,000 experience times 10 from the museum. You wouldn't be doing that. You likely wouldn't be doing these. So the maximum you could probably get without using the lamps is 60k experience with 2 quests. Let me just check this out with the calculator here. 60k experience is level 44. So you're already in the clear without lamps. But if you did use the lamps, you would get 80k. But actually, you would probably only get 70 because a part of our strategy uses 1. I haven't figured out what to use the other one for. So you would have level 46. So you'd still be in the clear. And so you would have to do Wanted. You would be forced to do Wanted if you wanted to do that strategy that you're talking about. And Wanted requirements are several quests. Recruitment Drive, Black Knight's Fortress, Druidic Ritual. It's a lot, bro. The Lost Tribe, which we will do, and all these quests that are auto-unlocked, but you'll have to do basically 4 quests. Enter the Abyss, Black Knight's Fortress, and Recruitment Drive in order to be able to do Wanted. So, other than that, the maximum you could get is 30,000 with all of your lamps, and you would still only be level 37. So maybe the quests are worth it. Or maybe actually training Slayer is worth it. It's up to you.
I didn't say I'd do it. It's just the only thing I came up with yesterday. But
It's possible. It's viable. I wouldn't say it's the best for passive playing because you have to combat and eat on all three accounts that you mentioned, but it's a viable strategy. I wouldn't say it's very fun either, but PKers will come.
probably not.
You know, I'm not saying my strategy's fun, but it could very well be if everybody's combat ready and you can turn the tide. The point is the passive money making, though. I think that makes it better. Good thinking, though, man. Always up for interesting strategies. Makes me question some things. Anything else you wanted to cover over this call? Now that I've basically shared the general plan and this call, like deepening it is woo. We'll have to go into other calls for specialization topics.
Think nothing else, no.
Okay, cool. I might have to talk about specific topics in the following calls. Meaning, like showing people how to triple eat, for example. Things like that. Or go over the map together with people. Multi-combat zones, safe zones. Those types of things.
Is there a map of this in the wiki?
Yeah. And so we'll do things like that in preparation so that people can just watch the recording instead of doing their own research, which I would still encourage them to do both, but at least we'll do it together. And we'll probably get a bit more feedback on the actual plan and bounce some ideas back, which make the plan even better. I think that will be the priority or primary version of what we will do, though. Sound good?
Yeah.
Cool. Let's go ahead and end the call. If you do have any questions, though, please do bring them. And invite other people that you know to attend these calls and to Deadman mode. Yeah. It'll be fun.
Sure.
Thanks for being here. Taking the
See ya.
time. Ciao. And we will see you later. Thanks for attending the strategy session number 2, where we talked about some cool things, including all of these changes. We're looking forward to having you. Can't wait till DMM. Talk to you soon.